The whispers started in the shadows of ancient temples, tales passed down through generations. Not just any tales, but those speaking of a text so profound, so dangerous, it was said to hold the very secrets of creation. This wasn't some dusty scroll about kings and battles. This was something far greater. It was the Book of Thoth, a legendary volume rumored to have been penned by the god of wisdom himself. Imagine a book containing the answers to everything, the fundamental truths of existence. It promised power beyond imagination, but at what cost? Fear and fascination swirled around its very name. To possess it, some believed, was to become a god. To merely glimpse its pages, others whispered, could drive a mortal mad. This ancient enigma, revered and reviled, captivated the minds of pharaohs and scribes alike. And real quick, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos. Now let's get started. Ancient Egypt wasn't just a land of pyramids and mummies. It was a civilization built on an insatiable hunger for sacred knowledge. Their world was steeped in mysticism, every sunrise and every flood of the Nile imbued with divine significance. They believed deeply in hidden truths, meticulously recording everything from astronomical observations to complex rituals. This wasn't a casual interest, it was an obsession. Scribes dedicated their lives to deciphering hieroglyphs, priests spent decades in temples learning secret rites, and pharaohs claimed divine lineage. They weren't just accumulating facts. They were seeking to understand the very fabric of reality, to unlock the cosmic order. Their relentless pursuit of wisdom was woven into the very architecture of their society. Libraries were not just places for scrolls. They were centers of spiritual power. The Book of Thoth, then, wasn't just another text in this context. It was the ultimate prize, the culmination of all their spiritual endeavors. Thus, the potential existence of such a book, one containing the blueprint of the cosmos, fueled their every intellectual and spiritual pursuit, leading us to wonder where such a powerful artifact might have been kept. Hidden in the temple archives, imagine the greatest secrets of the universe, not scribbled on a papyrus in some forgotten tomb, but locked away in the most secure, sacred space of all, a temple archive. These weren't mere storage rooms, they were fortresses of knowledge, guarded by devoted priests who understood the immense power held within their walls. Every scroll, every tablet, was a testament to the wisdom of the gods and the accumulated understanding of millennia. The thought of the Book of Thoth resting among these hallowed texts is both thrilling and unsettling. Would it have been sealed in a chest, perhaps, or placed on a pedestal, radiating an unseen energy? The air within these archives would have been thick with the scent of ancient papyrus and the weight of untold wisdom, a perfect sanctuary for a book of such profound significance. Access to such archives was restricted to the highest echelons of society, the most trusted and learned. Even then, approaching certain texts would likely have involved elaborate purification rituals and solemn prayers. The contents were considered too potent for the uninitiated, their truths too overwhelming. So, if the Book of Thoth truly existed, its placement within such a guarded, sacred space implies an even deeper truth. That its teachings were not just valuable, but potentially dangerous, leading us directly into the topic of forbidden teachings and divine punishment. The idea of forbidden knowledge is a timeless one, and in ancient Egypt, the line between sacred wisdom and dangerous heresy was drawn with extreme care. The priests, as custodians of spiritual understanding, tightly controlled what information was disseminated and to whom. Some truths, they believed, were simply not meant for mortal ears or eyes. The Book of Thoth, with its rumored ability to grant unparalleled power and insight into the divine mind, would have undoubtedly fallen into this category. Its teachings could have challenged established religious hierarchies, perhaps even revealed uncomfortable truths about the gods themselves. Such revelations might have been perceived as a direct threat to the stability of society and the authority of the pharaohs. Therefore, the acquisition or even the mere reading of its contents by an unauthorized individual was not just a breach of protocol. It was an act of sacrilege. Legend warned of severe consequences, divine wrath, madness, or even immediate death awaited those who dared to trespass into such forbidden intellectual territory. These weren't just cautionary tales. They were rooted in a profound fear of disrupting the cosmic balance through unauthorized wisdom. This fear of divine retribution raises a critical question about the nature of the book's powers. Were they literal or merely allegorical warnings designed to protect sacred secrets? When we speak of the Book of Thoth granting immense power, what exactly does that mean? Did it literally allow its reader to command the elements, raise the dead, or peer into the fabric of time? Many ancient accounts suggest a very real, tangible manifestation of power, describing spells and rituals that could alter reality. For those who believed, its words were not metaphors, but direct commands to the universe itself. Imagine a priest reading from its pages and the weather shifting, or a healer reciting its verses and a terminal illness receding. Such direct interventions would certainly imply a literal interpretation of its magical capabilities. The allure of such literal power would have certainly driven many to seek it, despite the risks. However, the warnings of madness and divine punishment also raised the possibility of allegory. Perhaps the power was not about physical control, but about profound intellectual and spiritual insight, an awakening that could overwhelm an unprepared mind. The punishment might have been the psychological torment of confronting truths too vast for human comprehension, or perhaps the social ostracism for holding beliefs that challenged the status quo. Discerning the literal from the allegorical becomes crucial to understanding its true impact, especially when we consider Thoth's broader role in the judgment of souls. Thoth, as the scribe of the gods, held a pivotal role far beyond merely composing a legendary book. He was the impartial record keeper, the arbiter of truth, and a central figure in the most solemn of Egyptian ceremonies, the judgment of souls in the afterlife. Imagine stepping before a divine tribunal, your heart weighed against the feather of Ma'at, representing cosmic order and truth. In this moment of ultimate reckoning, Thoth stood ready. He wasn't there to condemn or to save, but to meticulously record every word, every deed, acting as the divine stenographer. His presence ensured that justice, according to Ma'at, was administered without error, his scrolls detailing the precise balance of a life lived. He was the ultimate witness, his wisdom employed to maintain cosmic harmony even beyond the veil of death. His association with judgment emphasizes his inherent connection to truth, ethics, and the consequences of actions, both mortal and divine. This role paints him not just as a god of magic and knowledge, but also as a guardian of moral order, a crucial distinction often overlooked. This omniscient, all-seeing aspect of Thoth often leads to comparisons with other wisdom deities from different cultures, prompting the inevitable question: was Thoth the same as Hermes? The ancient world was far more interconnected than we often imagine, and the flow of ideas between civilizations was constant and complex. As cultures interacted, deities with similar attributes often became conflated, their stories blending into new forms. Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom, magic, writing, and the moon, found a striking parallel in the Greek pantheon. Hermes, the messenger of the gods, god of eloquence, invention, and often associated with magic. Look closely at their functions. Both were divine scribes, guiding souls to the underworld, Hermes psychopomp, and patrons of intellectual pursuits. Both were seen as intermediaries between the divine and mortal realms, capable of deciphering profound mysteries. The Greeks, encountering Egyptian religion, saw in Thoth a manifestation of their own Hermes, a familiar face in a foreign land. This syncretism, or blending of religious beliefs, led to the creation of Hermes Trismegistus, Hermes the Thrice Great. This figure became a central icon in later mystical traditions, embodying the combined wisdom of both deities. This fusion wasn't just a simple renaming, It represented a deep recognition of shared cosmic principles. This synthesis, where Thoth and Hermes became one entity, was exceptionally fertile ground for a secretive spiritual movement known as Hermeticism and the eventual rebirth of the Book of Thoth. From the fertile ground of Hellenistic Egypt, where Greek and Egyptian cultures merged, a profound philosophical and religious current emerged, known as Hermeticism. This wasn't merely a rebranding of old gods. It was a sophisticated system of thought that sought to unlock the universe's ultimate secrets, drawing heavily from the combined wisdom attributed to Hermes Trismegistus. The followers of Hermeticism believed that this thrice great sage had left behind a corpus of writings known as the Hermetica, which held the keys to spiritual enlightenment and divine knowledge. Within the Hermetica, echoes of the original Book of Thoth resonated powerfully. While perhaps not a single, literal manuscript, the Hermetic texts embodied the spirit of Thoth's legendary book, a hidden, sacred body of knowledge capable of transforming the human soul and granting profound insight into the cosmos. These writings dealt with alchemy, astrology, magic, and the nature of God, presenting a holistic worldview. The rebirth wasn't of the book, but of its legacy. Hermeticism offered a philosophical framework where humanity could ascend to a divine state through gnosis or direct knowledge. It promised an intellectual and spiritual journey that paralleled the rumored powers of Thoth's original creation, captivating seekers for centuries. These enduring principles, often phrased as 7 fundamental axioms, were later distilled into a concise, influential text called the Kybalion, which continues to echo ancient wisdom directly linked to Thoth. Centuries after the initial Hermetic flourishing, a mysterious book named the Kybalion emerged in 1908, claiming to be a distillation of the ancient Hermetic philosophy, specifically the 7 Hermetic principles. Published by the 3 initiates, whose identities remain unknown, the Kybalion presented a modernized, accessible version of the profound wisdom once attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, and by extension, to Thoth himself. It offered a framework for understanding the universe, asserting that these principles are omnipresent and eternally true. The Kybalion's principles, such as the principle of mentalism, all is mind. The universe is mental, or the principle of correspondence. As above, so below, as below, so above, reverberated with the same grand, unifying worldview that the original Book of Thoth was said to contain. It suggested that reality could be manipulated, not just through spells, but through an understanding of these underlying cosmic laws. This small volume quickly became a foundational text for various new thought movements and spiritual seekers. It rekindled interest in Hermeticism and, by extension, the ancient Egyptian origins of this secret knowledge. It implied that the hidden wisdom of Thoth wasn't lost at all, but merely re-expressed for a new era, resonating deeply within the circles of occultists, alchemists, and various esoteric traditions who continued to carry the Thoth legacy. The legacy of Thoth, filtered through Hermeticism and clarified by texts like the Kybalion, found fertile ground among occultists and alchemists throughout history. These weren't mere dabblers in shadows. They were serious seekers of hidden knowledge, striving to understand and manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe. For them, Thoth was not just a historical deity, but a living embodiment of the divine mind, the master of all esoteric arts. Alchemists, in their quest to transmute base metals into gold, saw their work as far more than just chemistry. They believed they were purifying matter, mirroring a spiritual process of transforming the soul itself. This great work was deeply rooted in Hermetic principles, seeking the philosopher's stone as both a material and a spiritual elixir. The texts attributed to Thoth offered guidance on these transformative processes. Occultists, meanwhile, explored everything from ceremonial magic to divination, believing that Thoth's teachings provided the ultimate blueprint for accessing higher planes of consciousness and manifesting desired realities. His name became synonymous with secret wisdom, powerful symbols, and the tools to unlock untapped human potential. The desire to rediscover and apply this ancient Egyptian wisdom was profound. It was this very spiritual lineage that led many, including influential figures like Aleister Crowley, to connect Thoth directly to powerful visual systems of divination, most famously, the tarot's connection to Thoth. The intricate symbolic imagery of the tarot deck, particularly in certain influential versions, holds a profound and explicit connection to Thoth. While the tarot's precise origins are debated, its association with ancient Egyptian wisdom, and specifically with Thoth, gained significant traction within esoteric circles. The idea was that the tarot was not merely a set of fortune-telling cards, but a pictorial representation of the Book of Thoth's secret teachings, a kind of hieroglyphic key to universal knowledge. Aleister Crowley, a highly influential occultist of the early 20th century, famously designed his own deck, the Thoth Tarot, with the artist Lady Frieda Harris. This deck was a deliberate attempt to embody the Hermetic and Kabbalistic principles he studied, directly attributing its wisdom to the Egyptian god of magic and knowledge. Each card is laden with complex symbolism rooted in astrology, alchemy, and the Kabbalah, all drawing from the broader Thoth legacy. For Crowley and his followers, the Thoth Tarot was far more than a divination tool. It was a philosophical system, a book of wisdom in card form, capable of revealing the deepest truths of the psyche and the cosmos. It was a tangible, visual manifestation of the power and insight attributed to the legendary Book of Thoth, making ancient wisdom accessible in a new way. This persistent fascination with ancient Egypt, its gods, and its hidden knowledge wasn't just confined to esoteric circles. It exploded into a cultural phenomenon known as Egyptomania, profoundly shaping the West's obsession with Thoth. The 19th and early 20th centuries witnessed an unprecedented cultural phenomenon known as Egyptomania. This wasn't merely academic interest, it was a widespread, almost feverish fascination with everything Egyptian that swept through Western society. The discovery of ancient tombs, the deciphering of hieroglyphs, and the exoticism of Egyptian art captivated imaginations across Europe and America. From architecture to fashion, literature to spiritual movements, the allure of the Nile Valley permeated every aspect of life. Within this wave of Egyptomania, the figure of Thoth, the god of wisdom, magic, and writing, stood out as particularly compelling. He embodied the very essence of the hidden knowledge that the West so eagerly sought. He was seen as the ultimate sage, the source of all the ancient mysteries that were now being unearthed and translated. This wasn't just about admiring artifacts, it was about believing that profound truths, once lost, were finally within reach. The mystique surrounding Thoth fueled spiritual revivals and new esoteric schools. It helped popularize the idea that Egypt held the original blueprint for all mystical traditions, a notion that continues to resonate today. The fascination wasn't just aesthetic, it was a deeply spiritual quest, leading many to ask a fundamental question: was there ever a real book? After tracing the legend of Thoth through millennia of esoteric thought, spiritual movements, and cultural obsessions, we must confront the most fundamental question. Was there ever a physical, tangible Book of Thoth? Or was it always an allegorical concept, a potent symbol for an ultimate, unattainable body of sacred knowledge? Historians and Egyptologists generally agree that no single, legendary book, matching the elaborate descriptions, has ever been discovered in an archaeological excavation. No papyrus scroll or inscribed tablet has been unearthed bearing the title, the Book of Thoth, and containing the cosmic secrets described in myth. The closest we come are fragmented texts that deal with medical knowledge, astrological observations, or magical spells, sometimes attributed to Thoth in a general sense, but none that encapsulate the complete, all-powerful tome of legend. It seems the book, as a single artifact, remains elusive. Perhaps its power lies precisely in its absence, in its status as a guiding ideal rather than a bound collection of pages. The idea of the book, its potential, and the wisdom it represented may have always been more influential than any physical manifestation could ever be. It might be less about what it physically was and more about what it represented to those who sought it, a profound understanding that could be a blessing or a curse. This ambiguity leads us to consider a timeless warning embedded in its legend, the danger of too much knowledge. The legend of the Book of Thoth, whether literal or symbolic, carries with it a potent warning. The danger of possessing too much knowledge. From the earliest whispers, acquiring its wisdom was never described as a simple path to enlightenment. Instead, it was fraught with peril, hinting at madness, divine retribution, and the overwhelming burden of understanding truths that mortals were not meant to comprehend. Imagine possessing absolute knowledge, seeing the intricate gears of the universe turning, understanding cause and effect with unfathomable clarity. Such insight could shatter the human mind, leaving an individual isolated by their profound understanding, unable to reconcile it with the everyday reality of others. It suggests a certain arrogance in seeking to wield divine power, an overestimation of human capacity to process ultimate truths. This inherent danger implies that some knowledge, while powerful, might be fundamentally incompatible with the human condition. It's a cautionary tale against hubris, a reminder that there are limits to what even the brightest minds should seek to uncover. The pursuit of ultimate wisdom might not lead to salvation, but rather to a terrifying awakening, pushing us to ask how modern seekers are approaching this very same quest for ultimate understanding, in what could be called the new Book of Thoth. In our digital age, the quest for profound knowledge continues, reimagined in countless forms. Today's seekers, equipped with the internet and a global repository of information, are effectively writing their own new Book of Thoth. They delve into ancient texts online, compare disparate spiritual traditions, and seek to synthesize a personal understanding of the universe, much like the Hermeticists of old. This isn't about a single physical book. It's about the relentless pursuit of ultimate wisdom through diverse, interconnected sources. Websites, online courses, digital libraries, and collaborative forums have become the new temple archives, open to anyone with an internet connection. The forbidden aspect now often refers to information that challenges mainstream narratives or esoteric wisdom previously restricted to closed groups. While the dangers of divine punishment might seem less pressing, the pitfalls of misinformation, overwhelming data, and spiritual bypassing remain real. The modern seeker grapples with integrating vast amounts of information, discerning truth from falsehood, and forming a coherent worldview. This ongoing, collective search embodies the spirit of Thoth, the divine scribe whose influence still shapes humanity's unending desire for profound insight. The true essence of this ancient legend thus reveals itself in a powerful, ongoing message, bringing us to what the Book of Thoth really reveals. Ultimately, the Book of Thoth, whether a physical artifact or a pervasive myth, reveals far more about humanity than it does about any single set of magical spells or cosmic blueprints. It stands as a timeless testament to our insatiable human hunger for knowledge, our enduring desire to understand the universe's deepest secrets, and our relentless yearning to connect with the divine. It exposes a fundamental human drive to transcend limitations, both intellectual and spiritual. This powerful legend reflects our aspirations for enlightenment, our deep-seated belief that there are hidden truths waiting to be uncovered, and our recurring fear of the consequences should we overstep our bounds. It teaches us that the pursuit of wisdom is a sacred journey, fraught with both profound breakthroughs and potential perils. The mystery surrounding the book keeps it alive in our collective consciousness, a perpetual challenge to explore the unknown. The Book of Thoth, therefore, is not just a story about ancient Egypt. It is a mirror reflecting humanity's eternal quest for meaning, reminding us that the greatest power often lies in the pursuit itself, rather than in the attainment of any single, all-encompassing answer. The legend endures because it speaks to the core of what it means to be human, endlessly curious, endlessly striving. Make sure to subscribe for more religious videos and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. We'll see you in the next one.